Hi everyone, welcome to BioXplaining by Anuska. This is me, Anuska Sen, your educator, and in this series we'll be discussing about the past paper questions of BSAEU semester 1 onwards. Hope we have a nice learning session. If you have any doubts, any problems, please do not hesitate to comment below, or you can also contact me personally via my email ID that will be mentioned in the description. Let's start learning. Before actually getting into what the questions are, what their answers are, the first thing that we are going to deal with is what is the question pattern. So if I take simply that your entire paper is divided into three groups, right? So it will be group A, then you will have group B, and you will be having group C. Right? So what we are seeing is the paper is divided into three, that is group A, group B and group C. Now, when we talk about group A, there will be a total of 7 questions given to you, right? They will give you a total of 7 questions, out of which you will have to do only 5. Only 5 to be answered. Are we getting it? So this is the first basic thing. Group B, they will give you a total of 5 questions. Total of 5 questions will be given, out of which you will be able to, you will have to answer only 3 to be done. Fine. And then finally, when we come to group C, they will be providing you with 2 questions, out of which you will have to solve 1. Okay. So how many questions are we actually answering? For group A, we are answering 5 questions. For group B, we are answering 3 questions. And for group C, we are solving 1 question. I hope this is clear. For today's lesson, we are dealing with the course code 1.1.1. That is childhood and growing up. And we'll be talking about the first half. That is development and its characteristics. Now this question paper that we are going to solve is the latest year. That is, it is for 2024, but the exam has been done in 2025. So let us get into the questions one by one. So as we just discussed that in total there are going to be 7 questions in group A. This is group A, so you will be having 7 questions, out of which we will have to solve only 5. So only 5 to be done. Here, since I will be discussing the full question paper, so I will do all of them, but when in reality you're actually taking the test, you will have to choose out any 5. Choose 5 based on which are the ones you surely know, what you're actually confident about, what you can write properly, and note one thing, you have to write it within 50 words. Right? So exactly we won't count like 1, 2, 3, 4 that way. 50 we are not counting, but in approximately 50 to 60, try to keep it that way. And each question is of 2 marks. So you also have to remember about the time management. You cannot be giving a lot of time to group A each question, because you also have group B and C to write, which are long questions. Right? So let us deal with the first question. Mention the 2 functions of ego. The backstory a little bit. According to Freud, he said that if you talk about personality, personality has 3 levels, or rather 3 aspects on which we are working. What is it? One, ID, the other is superego, and the other is ego. Now, let's understand the meaning with simple words. Say a friend in class brings a nice good pen, a very nice pen. Now, ID is that I want it just now, right? So ID refers to the immediate sense of pleasure or satisfaction, right? That is immediately, right now, I would need it. What is superego? Superego rather tells you that it will tell you what is right and what is wrong. Superego tells you that no, please don't ask for the pen, that's not right, it's not good, stealing is bad, don't just take it. But ego, what does ego do? This is the most balanced state. Ego is in between ID and superego. So it tells you that you can either go and politely ask for the pen or ask the person where did you buy it from, but don't steal it that way, right? So, if we have to understand the two functions of ego, what do we say? The first function you can say is it acts as a mediator. That is, it is in between your ID and your superego. And ego follows the reality principle. That is, neither do you want it just now, nor is it like you don't want to also forget about it. So what is the reality? What can you actually do such that you are able to adjust to the environment? You're able to adjust to whatever condition you are given. Second one, B. Highlight the differences, highlight the two differences between growth and development. Now, one thing I would like to say to all of you is that say you're writing a certain answer, it is not that always you have to learn and write it. This is a general question. Na? Growth, we all know what is growth. Say somebody's height has increased, we say, Acha, she has grown, right? Again, when we talk about development, say today I cannot do a numerical. Now in the entire year I practice maths very nicely. Next year I'm able to do maths quite well. So that will be said, Acha, she has developed her math skills. So what do we mean by this? Growth refers to just the quantitative changes. Quantitative changes means that it can be measured. Like size, you can measure the size of a person. Like height, you can easily measure the height of a person. What is the weight of a person? You can measure all of that. So whatever you can measure, whatever can be quantified, that is your growth. And development is an overall term basically. So it deals with both quantitative as well as qualitative changes. So qualitative changes are, these cannot be measured, but you can understand that there is some kind of a change in it. Fine. The example that I gave you with maths, that if today I can't do maths, after practicing for a few months, I'm able to do, my skills have developed. But will you be able to measure it? No, you can't measure that. Then growth is mainly physical. So what do we mean here when we say that growth is mainly physical? Here we mean to say that whatever changes are occurring to the body, like the height is increasing, size is increasing, that. But when we talk about development, it is not just physical but the overall thing together. That is, physical growth is absolutely there. Along with that, you have cognitive growth. What does cognitive growth means? Cognitive basically refers to the mental abilities. Right? Cognitive has to deal with mental abilities. What about the emotional growth? That is also involved in development and social changes. So what do we see is development is a larger umbrella term out of which only the physical characters which you are being able to measure, those are coming under growth. Okay. Third question. See, what is paralinguistic development in communication? Now, paralinguistic is that something which is not just words. Like, say I'm talking to you all. If I start talking like this in the video, what is paralinguistic development in communication? Paralinguistic development refers to the development of nonverbal vocal cues. Will you all listen? No, right? Instant skip. Nobody is going to listen. Why? Because no proper tone, no proper pitch, no proper setting of speed, no pause, nothing. Nobody will listen to it, right? So paralinguistic development in communication is when I teach somebody to communicate, or the communication skills of a person, it is not just words arranged one after the other. It is about how you present. When I need it, I'll talk a little loudly. Say a teacher goes into the class and she starts whispering. Okay, so today we are going to study. Will the last bench child have any attention left? Nothing. So, voice modulation, change in tone, pitch, that is sometimes hello guys, sometimes hello, how are you all, to show excitement. So basically, the meaning of the communication gets enhanced a lot. That means the actual emotion, the actual purpose of what you're saying, that comes out. So paralinguistic development refers to these non-verbal vocal cues. That is, you're not actually relying on the words here, but it also has to deal with how you are talking such that the meaning of the communication gets a lot better. Okay. So for D, what do you mean by cognition? Now, basically, if we have to say, cognition refers to all the mental activities, all the mental activities involved in learning and understanding. Okay, so what are we saying? That cognition refers to all the mental activities that a person has got involved in learning and understanding. Like, say for instance, we are teaching maths to somebody. So first and foremost, the person has to pay attention. Firstly, what does the person perceive about maths? If first and foremost the person thinks that acha, it is a nice subject, I can gradually learn. So that's a nice good perception. Then comes attention. That is how well the child is focused. How much of the brain is he putting into it, or is he just thinking about eating chips after the class? Then comes memory. How much can he retain? That is what I'm teaching today. If the child goes home, practices well, or then he'll remember it well. Thinking is if somebody just wants to learn up, it doesn't give good results, right? The person has to think about it, understand it nicely, only then it will stay. And comes reasoning. Reasoning is that blindly today if I say sun rises in the south, and you think you just accept it, that no, ma'am is saying, so I have to accept it. No, it's not like that. Only when there's proper reasoning, you reason out that what she's saying, is it correct? What she's explaining, am I understanding? Only then the entire learning process is fruitful. So what we say is cognition refers to the process, two aspects, one acquiring and then using that knowledge. So in order to be able to get knowledge and use it further, there has to be the components of, there have to be perception, attention, memory, thinking, reasoning. Okay, these components have to be there. I hope you've understood. Okay, so getting started with the next question, what is schema? Now, this is such an important and common question that every other question paper you solve, you'll find the word schema. Okay, the first thing that we will learn about this is the concept was given by Jean Piaget. Okay, also remember the name of the person who gave the concept, because that is also an area of question. You'll face quite a few questions with his name. Concept given by Jean Piaget. Now, if I have to explain this to you in very simple words, I would rather say that this schema, is like a mental folder. Just like in your laptops and computers, you have built a folder wherein you keep related things together. Just like that, schema is a mental folder wherein, it is an organized matter, organized knowledge kept in your mind. Like for instance, when a child is small, we teach them about different objects. Let's say I teach a child what is a dog. So the person will obviously look for definite characters, that there are 4 legs present, right? Then there's one tail present. Then the animal walks on 4 legs, 2 ears. And so this is how a dog basically looks, right? So now if the child is walking on the street and sees another dog, maybe of a different breed, walking on the 4 legs, looks like this, so obviously the child will point, see dog, right? But if for instance there's a bird that's flying, the child will not look up and say dog, because it doesn't match that idea. So schema is a mental structure, that is, it's already built in your mind that if I look at this is a dog for me, for instance. So what do we say? In simple words, we say schema is a mental structure, or as I said, it's just in informal words, a folder, or there's a cognitive framework. So the utility of the schema is that it helps an individual organize and interpret information. That the next time you get some more information about something similar, you know how to organize it. And the more experiences you build, your schema can gradually get modified. Right? So in simple words, schema is like a mental folder where you have information stored and with experiences that can gradually get modified too. Talking about F, mention 2 basic role of family in child rearing practices. Child rearing practices, it actually means that you are talking about the process of a child growing up in a family. So the two basic roles of a family in child rearing are, the first one is the family provides care, protection, emotional security. So what are they going to provide? If I take it in very simple language, the first thing is food. The second thing is shelter, right? So say that a child goes to school, somebody hurts him, he comes back to his mom and cries about it. So that's where he gets safety. So the family also gives safety to the child. So that's about protection and care. Second is they help in socialization by teaching values, habits, and social norms. Say today you go to your university and you have somebody who helps you with the materials. You couldn't attend college for 2 days, somebody is helping you. So you must think that, acha, she learned that at home. Surely the mom and dad is also like that. They are also like that. So that is what we say, that there's a very common and famous saying that charity begins at home. So this is what it actually means, that how you turn out to be in your life has a lot to do with what your family teaches you during the childhood. And with the final question of group A, G, what is sociometry? See, the name sociometry only has to do something with social, right? Now, I'll give you a very simple example. Say, y'all are B.Ed students, so you're all aspiring to be teachers, right? So, say when we get into a class and it's a group of 50 children and we want them to do a group project. So now, if you actually ask the students, can you all raise your hands who wants to get into group 1? So the ones who will raise their hands, they are the ones who are, friends. Now group 2, again a few will raise. These are friends, right? If you say, who wants to take the responsibility of clubbing everybody's work? A few children will raise their hands up. You'll understand they have good leadership abilities. They want to take up the thing. And you'll find some who haven't raised their hand in any, who don't want to participate. So they are a little shy. So sociometry is the technique developed by J.L. Moreno, and he basically spoke about this technique to measure the social relationships. What are the group preferences? How are interpersonal relations within a group? If I create a group of, say there's a group of 50 students, it's a class of 50 students, there are still small groups within it. So some are close to each other, some are not that close to each other, some purely maintain a professional relationship. So this is what sociometry has to mean. That is analysis of the social relationships among people. With this, I'm done with group A for this paper. Now, there will be subsequent videos where we'll gradually be taking up group B and group C. Till then, prepare well. All the best.